Great day, great day. This is Good News Monday. You will find in this corner of the internet a message to make your day better, make your life better. This is a place that you're going to be able to come to for something amazing. I want to have this conversation with you. If you've not done so, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I want to talk to you about, is it second chances or God's plan?
If you actually took time to learn about how incredible you were, nothing would ever stop you.
I want to give you the story of a gentleman from Australia. Now, I don't watch Australian golf. I've never watched Australian golf before in my life. Matter of fact, what I'm about to share with you, I've actually never even seen this individual play, but I heard the story and I saw clips of it going all across the internet, and I was blown away by a gentleman by the name of Ryan Peake. Now, there's 7 points I'm going to make here because I think these 7 points can relate to anyone in terms of your journey. First, this young man had tremendous talent in golf. So I want to start off with early talent. You know, when he was really young, he was seen as a tremendous talent to be able to one day possibly go pro. However, point number 2 was the detour, a drastic detour. Instead of committing and furthering on, in his teenage years, he joined a biker gang. Now, he joins this biker gang, and this gang was an outlaw gang with Australia. So the next part is the prison sentence. That's the third part. He gets sentenced at age 21. He's convicted of serious assault, and now he's in prison. But here's the fourth point, is the turning point. And this is important because while he was in jail, he had a renowned golf instructor that knew of his talent, reached out to him, reached out to his family and said, don't you give up on your dreams. So here's what's happening. Between his family, point number 5, and his coach, he was literally golfing during day release from prison. You know, hear what I just said. Here's this young guy sentenced to jail because of encouragement from a coach, is now golfing during his day release. He had an amazing ability, but he was in jail. Here's the 6th point though, the comeback. You see, because sometimes we believe that our story is written and it's like a photograph, but we are a motion picture. Making different changes can change everything. And so in 2025, after getting released, he participates in the New Zealand Open and he wins the New Zealand Open. And therefore, he wins over $100,000. Everyone, I want you to understand, point number 6 is the breakthrough. You see, the breakthrough is look at a life. Look at your life. Look at my life. Look at the things that you've done that no one knows about. Think about it. If everyone knew about the things that we've done, what would they think about us? In his particular case, it just so happens that the world knows about it because his story was written out there. He's never tried to hide it. So point number 7 was never hide who you are. You see, no one is perfect. No one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that from what I've seen, it seems to me that God purposefully chooses the imperfect. You know, if you think about the stories of the Bible, Moses was a killer. Saul of Tarsus was a killer. I mean, like these are people that the entire faith was built on, and they were all a little bit broken. And I think it's very powerful that broken people are chosen for something great. You see, when I asked the question at the very beginning, was it a second chance or was it God's plan? You see, most of us would say, oh my gosh, the way he turned his life around. That is a second chance, but maybe it was the original plan all along. See, I and you have an ability. We have an ability to see only what we see. We do not have God's ability, which is to lay out a life and let that life progress and manifest in the original vision. We don't have that. So you see someone going through, you yourself, you're going through your ups, your downs. You know, maybe you're seeing this and you're a young mother and people are telling you, oh my gosh, you're a teenage mom, your life is over. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe God's plan is something totally different. But everything that happens from the beginning of your life to the manifestation of that plan is ordained. Every step, everything, the things that look like the mistake, the getting fired from your job, but all of a sudden you get a better opportunity, the relationships that you thought you had that were strong and long and they disappear, but you end up ending way better situations and relationships. All of these things that happen to us, we have to look at and say that there is a plan over our lives. There is something, there's a divine order to this universe. This universe is not chaotic. There's an order to everything. There's a sequence to everything. And when I looked at that story, I thought to myself, how many people wrote him off? How many people said, never make it, he's done for? How many people wrote you off? Maybe you had a major setback. Could be a financial setback. And people were throwing dirt on your coffin because you're done in their minds. But what they didn't understand was that your steps were being ordered and there was something greater that was coming along. And you didn't understand that. When you're in the midst of the chaos and you're in the midst of your personal drama, it's really hard sometimes to look at this and say, oh, this is God's perfect plan manifesting in my life. This is not what you think. You think, I can't pay my bills. You think, I can't believe they dumped me. You think, I can't believe they fired me. You think all these things that you think, not realizing that every single thing that is happening is the way it's supposed to be. Now, what if you took that on? What if you took on that thinking real time? What if you could pause in the middle of chaos and stop and say, wait a minute, this is supposed to be happening right now, but what am I supposed to be learning from it? Because if you had that slight little pause of this is what's supposed to be happening, but what am I supposed to be learning from it? Then you'd have the ability to take whatever's going on and reframe it in a way that empowers you. Most people don't do that. They take a situation that is not positive and they make themselves the victim in their own narrative. They say, I can't believe he left me. I can't believe they fired me. I can't believe it. That's what they do. Then they surround themselves with other people that say, I can't believe he left you. I can't believe they fired you. And you take on, not only do you have that energy, now you're getting magnified because you're getting that energy from people around you. You can't do that. You can't do that. That is not the recipe for a great life. You have to understand that every single thing that is happening to you is happening for you. And the moment you understand that little simple concept, it's actually a big concept, but the moment you can have the ability to stop, pause, and think. Stop, pause, think. Just think. Why is this happening? You know, I remember having a conversation with someone years ago. This young lady is so amazing, so amazing. And she lost her job, and she'd been there for, I think it was like 26 years. And she was 2 weeks away from getting her full pension, and they fired her because they didn't want to pay her the full pension. And everyone around her, you should sue them. They did all this stuff. And she sat there, and we had a conversation. I said, so what do you plan on doing? She's like, I'm going to go get another job, and I'm going to start a business. I said, really? I said, no, not looking to go after them. She's like, why? That's not God's plan for me. God's plan for me was for me to be let go from that company. Now I need to understand, why did God have that plan for me? You see, it was so perfectly said. I need to understand, what is God's plan for me? Why did God have that plan for me? There's some place I'm supposed to go to, and I need to figure out where that is, and I need to go there. When that gentleman, Ryan Peake, was sitting in jail, I promise you, imagine, if you ever played golf, I've played golf before. It wasn't pretty, but I played golf before. You have these wide open spaces, these beautiful landscaping, trees, all of this. It's such a spiritual experience because you're in nature and you're walking in nature. It's like you have endless space. Imagine going from endless space to a prison cell. And I'm very confident while he was in that prison cell, he was thinking about the open spaces he took for granted. I'm very confident that there's no one who plays the game of golf that appreciates the open space and the game and freedom itself more than this guy. I'm sure there's other people that love the game, but to have it snatched and then to have it restored, and not just restored, to be at a high level, that's God's plan. When something happens, it's not happening to disempower you. It's not happening to push you away from your goal. It's actually happening because there's a door that you're supposed to go through, and until you go through it, you will never get to what God has for you. Sometimes you go willingly, but sometimes you have to be kicked through the door. I know, that's personal experience. So what that means is that we have to look at every situation and not woe is me, and not surround ourselves with woe is me people, but to put ourselves in a mental place where we say, okay, what does God have for me? There's something here that God has for me. Lord, what do you have for me? I'm just going to sit and listen. What do you have for me? And in that moment, when you can pause and think, you're powerful. Congratulations to all the people who took advantage of God's plan. It may have been your second chance, your third chance, your fourth, fifth chance. You may be in the middle of your eighth chance right now. I don't know. But what I do know is that if there's life in your body still, air in your lungs, if your lungs still get filled, it means that the work for you is not yet done. And don't you ever think that's the case. Have a blessed day.
If you actually took time to learn about how incredible you were, nothing would ever stop you. See, the definition of sight is the faculty or power of seeing.